Hello Riftbreakers! Today we would like to give you a closer look at World Expansion 4, a major free update for the Riftbreaker that introduces two huge additions. An entirely new way to play the campaign, and a brand new biome that pushes your survival skills in a very different direction. Let's start with the most significant change. World Expansion 4 introduces the Open Campaign mode. This mode was designed for experienced Riftbreakers, for players who already know the rules of Galatea 37 and want to bend them, break them, or simply ignore the safety rails altogether. In the regular story campaign, your journey always begins in the tropical zone. It's a deliberate choice. It eases you into the mechanics, the economy, and the escalating threats. In Open Campaign, we throw those assumptions out of the window. Here, you decide where your story begins. You can start in any biome available in the game, each with its own resources, dangers, and early game pressure. That means your first minutes can feel completely different every single time. A calm start in a familiar environment, or immediate chaos in a hostile zone that comes typically much later. The choice is yours. This single decision changes the entire rhythm of the game. Your early research priorities, your power setup, your defensive strategy, all of them depend on where you land. Open Campaign also removes story-driven objectives entirely. There are no narrative milestones pushing you from biome to biome. No characters telling you what to do next. You decide where to expand, when to expand, and whether expansion is even worth the risk. You may want to establish a network of outposts across the planet to secure rare resources and build a massive interplanetary economy. Others might choose a far more minimal approach, grabbing only what's necessary, fortifying fewer locations, and focusing entirely on the end goal. And that goal is simple. Build the Prime Rift Station. All research options are available from the start. If you want a specific technology, the only things standing in your way are its cost and, in some cases, your familiarity with the local flora and fauna. This gives you complete control over your progression path. You can plan ahead, optimize aggressively, or improvise your way through Galatea 37, adapting to whatever the planet throws at you. Open Campaign can be played solo or in co-op, and it's not easier than the story campaign. Enemy pressure remains consistent, and the planet will test your defenses just as relentlessly as ever. Now, let's talk about the second major addition in World Expansion 4, the Cryofields biome. This is a permanently frozen region of Galatea 37, covered in ice, frost, and characterized by extreme low temperatures. Visually, it is wide open, with fewer terrain obstacles than many other biomes, but that openness comes with its own challenges. Resource deposits here are massive, but they're spread far apart. Instead of one centralized base, you'll often be better off building multiple smaller extraction outposts and connecting them into a larger logistical network. The cryofields also introduce natural reserves of supercoolant. Until now, it had to be produced artificially. In this biome, it is abundant, opening up entirely new production and transport possibilities. With the right setup, you can turn the cryofields into a planet-scale extraction operation, feeding supercoolant into even the most remote parts of your infrastructure. Despite the harsh conditions, the cryofields are far from lifeless. You'll encounter new enemy species adapted to the extreme cold, each requiring different tactics to deal with effectively. You'll also discover new plant species that can be cataloged and cultivated, adding fresh options to your economy. The Cryofields biome is available across multiple game modes. You can access it in the story campaign, where it becomes available through standard progression. You can start there in Open Campaign immediately, if you're feeling brave. And if you prefer focused, high-intensity sessions, the Cryofields are also playable in survival mode, packing everything this biome has to offer into a fast-paced 90-minute challenge. World Expansion 4 also expands your defensive and logistical options with several new buildings. We've added larger versions of energy storage and solid material storage. These structures take up more space and require a bigger investment, but they allow you to store far more resources in a compact footprint. On the defensive side, we're introducing 3 new towers. The Icicle Tower is a cryo-damage structure that fires projectiles which shatter on impact, slowing enemies and controlling space rather than dealing raw area damage. The Inferno Tower sits somewhere between artillery and a mortar. It fires cluster fire grenades that split mid-air. And finally, the Shredder Tower. It is a rapid-fire weapon that shoots acid-laced needles at enemies. These needles split on impact, and the resulting shards damage other enemies in the vicinity. World Expansion 4 is about choice, where you start, how to expand, what you prioritize, and how much risk you're willing to take. We designed this update to give experienced players more freedom, more replayability, and more ways to tell their own story on Galatea 37. We can't wait to see what you build, how you survive, and which terrible decisions turn into great stories this time. Good luck out there, Riftbreakers.